My name is Gary Harris, and I'm a saxophonist.
And one of the reasons that we're talking to you today, and I say one because there's a lot for us to go over, but one of the reasons we're talking with you today is because you have a show coming up. Tell us a little bit about the show, the name of the show, and kind of what's involved.
This show is named Jazz and Jokes Marietta. It's a live jazz show with comedians in the middle. It's a nice, laid-back family show. No craziness. Just bring your own. Fontaine nicknamed it his indoor Chastain Park because it's your bring your own picnic basket. So you bring your own, come in, sit down, listen to some nice laid-back adult style music, and with comedians that usually do clean shows. So that way you can make it family.
Yeah. Fontaine does a great job on these. Fontaine is the producer of the show, Marietta Jazz Jokes. And it's a lot of fun. Like you said, very cool environment. It feels like a loft style in a gallery style venue. But kind of give us an idea of what can we expect musically when we get there.
Well, this show is the Christmas edition. So I'm going to play tunes from my Christmas CD. I may do a couple of other tunes just so people can dance, but the Christmas songs that I do are going to be this more contemporary jazz style from my CD that I recorded a few years ago. So we're just going to play Christmas music and have a good time.
All right. And it definitely be a good time. Fontaine refers to you as the mayor because you just seem to know everybody and everybody loves you. And they kind of give me an idea of some of the type of music that you put on this CD. And because I know that you working on it, you were very excited about it at the time. And so I've listened to the CD several times. Kind of tell us what was the inspiration behind your twist on this Christmas album?
Well, I wanted to do something that I was in charge of and I was feeling. So every song on the CD, I felt the style. I could hear it in my head. And so I have some experience with recording software. So that gave me the ability to be in control. I took my laptop everywhere. I went from one side of the city to the other with my laptop, and at the end of it, we named my studio Hip Pocket Studios because the guy who gave me the nickname, the mayor, was like, man, you just pull this stuff out your hip pocket. And so I just went around churches, people's apartments, everywhere. I did some stuff in some studios, and it came out exactly the way I wanted to. Because sometimes when you do this stuff, it don't come out the way you want it to. Some things you just have to deal with, and everything on this CD came out exactly the way I wanted it to. Every style, every solo, every person singing it. I have about 3 or 4 vocalists on it. Everything came out exactly the way I wanted to, and I mixed and mastered it myself. So it was my idea from start to finish, all the way from start to finish. So I'm very, very happy about this CD.
Oh, nice. So when you're doing this CD, what are some of the? Are you doing mostly originals, or are these the covers, or kind of a mixture?
They're all covers. They're all songs you've heard before. This Christmas, the Donny Hathaway classic, the Christmas song, Robin Lattimore singing that. Merry Christmas Baby is a blues tune. My friend Mudbone Turner is singing that one. Just every Al Smith did a really nice arrangement of Silent Night. They're all traditional Christmas songs, just with the spin on it that I envisioned.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I listen to your music, I mean, it has a jazz feel, but I also can feel that blues coming through as well. Mm-hmm. Kind of, is that something that you picked up, or is it something that comes natural to you?
It's come natural to me. Blues has been when I first started, most of the time when a jazz musician learns how to improvise, he usually starts with the blues. You know, you got 8-bar blues, 12-bar blues, and 16-bar blues. And so and then you go from there. That just seems to be the easiest thing to grasp hold to. You know, you learn the blues scale, you learn the progression, and then you learn how to improvise, and that just stuck with me. It seems to be my base for everything. So I tend to stick around the blues. I'll play the blues scale on anything.
Now, you kind of mentioned that, you know, when you first starting off as a musician, how you picked up the blues. When you first began playing, was saxophone your original instrument? Is that, or you kind of fell into that?
Well, saxophone was what I wanted to play to start with. I always wanted to play saxophone. I don't know what it was. My story is, I was in elementary school in 3rd grade, and I saw a guy stand on the stage in front of us playing a tenor saxophone, and he played the Pink Panther. And so I was like, oh, wow, somebody actually plays that. Okay, well, I want to learn how to play that. So I think I was about 8, and I told my parents I wanted a saxophone, and they were like, yeah, right, you're an 8-year-old getting a saxophone. But through some way, they acquired a flute. And so they said, well, let's give him this and see if he wants to stick with it. So I played flute for 2 years. I was sitting on the front row with all the girls playing flute for 2 years. And so my parents were like, he seems to want to stick with this. Let's get this dude a saxophone. So they got me a saxophone when I was 10 years old, and the rest is history.
Wow.
They figured I'd stick with it. They said, well, he did this for 2 years, you know, as a little kid. I guess they, you know, and they gave me a saxophone, and that's been great. Oh yeah. Love it.
So the flute didn't win you over?
The flute, I guess playing music was, you know, enough for me at that time. So it didn't win me over. I mean, I still like the flute and can still play it. It's just that my first love is saxophone.
All right. Now, do you remember the first song you really learned on the sax? Was it the Pink Panther song?
You know, to this day, I still have not learned the Pink Panther. Still haven't. That's on my list. My first song was probably a TV show, like Falcon Crest or something, you know, because you know, all those TV shows were on in the background when I was practicing. And I think one of the first songs I actually learned was maybe a TV show like that. When you start playing saxophone, you start playing alto first. So they give everybody an alto saxophone because that's like a smaller, easier to manage horn. And so I played alto saxophone all the way till I was in 11th grade. And then when I'm in 12th grade, my band director let me switch to tenor. And so that's why you see me every time I have a horn, most of the time it's tenor because I love tenor. I think that comes from the guy playing Pink Panther in front of me playing tenor. So I guess my ear just always wanted to have that sound. But alto saxophone, probably Falcon Crest or Dynasty, something like that. What is that? What song is that? You know?
It sounds like Falcon Crest, I think.
Yeah, that seems to be the first song that I learned.
Or Dallas. You know, I'm getting up. Falcon Crest, Dynasty, and Dallas are all confusing me right
now. Exactly.
Wow. So, you know, there is a positive influence from television as well, huh?
Yeah.
It kept you solid. Now, you play the tenor sax, the alto, and the flute. Any more instruments that you play?
Soprano saxophone, and I know a little piano.
Wow. See, almost like a savant on these instruments, huh?
That, but you know, I have a little bit of a gift.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, you mentioned that when you were playing younger, that you kind of found out about music at school. Now, you're originally a native of Atlanta. Kind of talk about kind of where you're from and where you grew up in the city and kind of how you progressed musically through school.
I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. My first memory of Atlanta was the Greenbrier area over by Camilton Road and Fairburn Road. That's my first memory. A lot of good friends over in that neighborhood that I still cross paths with today. My good friend across the street from me started playing saxophone a year before I did, and so I still keep in contact with him. And then probably in '84, I forgot how old I was. We moved out to Stone Mountain, and so that put me out here in Redan and Stone Mountain High School area. So another great group of friends that I still keep in contact with those two. But before I got to Stone Mountain, I did 1 year at the famed Northside High School, which it just like that was the energy that I needed to push through from, you know, 8th grade when things may have gotten kind of uninteresting, seeing all those people with all those jobs that were in a theater. You know, you had people climbing around in light rigs and learning sound engineering and building sets. I mean, from everything from building the set all the way to the lighting to the people acting. There was a job for it. We learned every job in a play or in a road show organization. And so that was good. That was good energy for me. And I did a year there. And then when I went to Stone Mountain, finished out in Redan High School, and that was pretty good too, because, you know, I had a lot of good players around me, which I keep in contact with too, by the way. Yeah.
I guess that's kind of how you get that marinade. You start traveling from one end of the city to the other. You start meeting some people, right?
Right.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you talked about how North Atlanta was a kind of an eye opener for you career wise in the entertainment business. Are there individuals who kind of served as kind of inspiration for you musically as well?
You mean in the school?
No, just in general, just as a kind of like your musical hero.
Well, you know, when you first start out, you get all of the classic names, like Grover Washington Jr. was my first saxophonist I listened to, and then I progressed to straight ahead music, and then John Coltrane. But then after I listened to John Coltrane and got all into that, then you hear more names like Stan Getz and Sonny Rollins and Sonny Stitt. And so Coltrane was the first one. I got into the rest of those. And then when I went back to contemporary music, now I listen to Kurt Whalum and Gerald Albright. They seem to, you know, I listen to all of their CDs all the time. I just love to hear them play.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, like, where do you envision yourself musically? Like, what do you want? What would you like to see be the max for Gary Harris as an artist?
I had a taste of traveling overseas a few years ago. Well, over the years, I've gone maybe once every 2 or 3 years, and it seems like there's so much time in between those trips that I forget the experience. And I think that I'd like to spend more time traveling and performing. I think that I'd like to have a few more projects out and just have the experience of traveling and experiencing other countries and cultures.
Mm. You know, I was kind of curious. Every time I meet an instrumentalist, they always seem to have a hidden talent, and a lot of times they seem to be singing. Is that something that you do as well? Are you able to sing?
No, I can't sing. No, I can't sing. No, I'm mechanically inclined, so I can seem to figure things out pretty fast. So that helps me. That helps me get things done that I need to get done, because, you know, in this business you have to do a lot of stuff yourself. And so sometimes we'll do things and it's kind of, you know, we'll do the best we can, but I seem to figure things out pretty fast. You know, just like the recording engineering. You know, to be able to record a CD project after only learning the software about a year in, you know, that's a pretty big pretty big accomplishment, I think. So that's my hidden talent. I'm mechanically inclined. I can figure things out, which is, served me well over the years. Put some money in my pocket, let me survive. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know from time to time, in addition to playing, I see you behind the soundboard too.
Yeah, sound engineering. Yep. That helps me out too. That gets me from job to job, transition wise. Like I said, I figure things out. I'll read, and YouTube has just been a godsend. I used to, when I first started out learning sound engineering, I would have to go to Guitar Center was called Rhythm City at the time. I'd go to Rhythm City and buy videotapes, UHS videotapes, and buy books and read about sound engineering. And that's how I originally learned sound engineering. Just reading owner's manuals, reading books, and watching these VHS tapes. So, having the patience and the time to figure that out has helped me out. And then, of course, going into the era we're in right now, where you can find anything on YouTube. There's a guy sitting there with the mixing board showing you what every button does. I'm like, oh, this is great. So I just go watch those videos and then go and apply it in real life, and seem to be pretty good at it. So I get calls to be a sound engineer.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of makes me curious. Have you ever thought about doing that yourself for saxophone, kind of showing a beginner's version of how to play the sax for maybe people just starting?
Never thought about that before. I think I would think there's a lot of videos out there for that. So I never really thought about it before, but look, I'll go out there and search and see. That's a good idea.
Well, maybe they don't know how to play it like the blues style that you do it, right?
Right. We'll do Gary Harris saxophone 101.
That's right.
From fingering, getting a sound, and then going to blues, and then I'll stop.
Hey, there you go. You sound like we just thought up something.
Exactly.
Well, Gary, I appreciate you joining me today. But just to kind of wrap up, kind of give us an idea of, tell us why, for people who may be sitting on the fence, why they should come out to this show this weekend. And speaking of which, the show is this Saturday, December 1st, and on Marietta Square. It's right on the venue's right on Marietta Square. It'll be a lot of fun. But kind of give us an idea of why people should come out and check out the show.
Well, first of all, I haven't been playing in a while, so you haven't seen me play in a while, so come out and see me play, first of all. Second of all, the atmosphere is really comfortable. There's no stuffiness. There's not a lot of formality. You come in, you got your seat. It's really laid back. Everybody in there most of the people have been in there, have been to the shows before, so they're family. They know each other. Marietta Square is a comfortable place to be. Parking is all around. It's all free after a certain time. And then when you get inside, the band that we have is just going to be, I like to call them creating on top of creating. We're going to have Mike Norwood is going to be featured. He's an awesome bass player. He has grown over the years, and now he's going to be my MD, which is great. I'm so happy for this guy. I remember when he came out and was coming out and playing on all our sessions and just sitting there asking me questions, and now here this guy's calling me, asking me how I want my songs to be done. So I'm so happy about that. Al Smith is going to be there. Al Smith has been my right-hand man for years. He plays with all the national artists, and he knows how to make the song feel full. And so, that combination is going to be great. And then the drummer, Styx Newsom, is going to have the thing funky, okay? And then the guitar player, Sterling Holloman, is just a funk master. So I can't wait. This combination, I've played with each one of these people on the stage separately before, but I don't think I've ever played with this group together before. So this is going to be really interesting. I'm gonna pop a recorder up in the corner somewhere just so I can remember this show, because it's gonna be really nice. And plus, I'm gonna bring out a couple of horns. I'm not gonna stay on tenor. I'm gonna bring out a couple of horns, and I'm gonna play electric wind instrument too. Gonna play some e-reed.
All right. So you got to remember, if you can remember, maybe we'll have the first rendition of the Pink Panther as well.
Let's see. Put some jingle bells behind it.
Yeah, that's right. Gary Harris style Pink Panther.
Got to learn Pink Panther. Man, that's been my story. I've been playing saxophone for a long time. That's my story. I need to learn Pink Panther.
I know, right? Maybe your next CD should be called the Pink Panther.
What'd you say?
Your next CD should be called the Pink Panther, maybe.
I know. All 12 keys, all the different styles. I'm gonna learn Pink Panther. We
Right.
gonna get Pink Panther.
So, Gary, for those who are interested in following you on social media, what's the best way to do so?
I have learned branding, and so everything is Gary Harris Music. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything is Gary Harris Music. And my website is garyharris.net. It's the only thing that's not Gary Harris Music. So the website is garyharris.net, and everything, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are all Gary Harris Music.
Well, there you go. We're all looking forward to checking you out on social media, and also live at the show coming up at Marietta Square for Marietta Jazz Jokes.
Well, yeah, it's gotta be fun. It's gotta be fun.
We're talking with Gary Harris. Thank you, Gary, for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.